I sent that and began again. Mom, everything is great. Of course it's raining. I was waiting for something to write about. School isn't bad, just a little repetitive. I met some nice kids who sit by me at lunch. Your blouse is at the dry cleaners. You were supposed to pick it up Friday. Charlie bought me a truck. Can you believe it? I love it. It's old, but it's really sturdy, which is good, for me. I miss you too. I'll write again soon, but I'm not going to check my emails every 5 minutes. Relax, breathe. I love you, Bella. I decided to read Wuthering Heights, the novel we are currently studying in English, yet again for the fun of it. And that's what I was doing when Charlie came home. I lost track of the time, and I'd hurry downstairs to take the potatoes out and put the steak in the burrow. Bella, my father called when he heard me on the stairs. Who else? I thought to myself. Hey, Dad, welcome home. Thanks. He hung his gun. He hung up his gun bill and stepped out of his boots as I bustled out of the kitchen. As far as I was aware, he never shot the gun on the job, but he kept it ready. When I came here as a child, he would always remove the bullets as soon as he walked through the door. I guess consider me old enough now not to shoot myself by accident, and not depressed enough to shoot myself on purpose. What's for dinner? He asked wearily. My mother was an imaginative cook, and her experiments weren't always edible. I was surprised and sad that he seemed to remember that far back. Steak and potatoes, I answered, and he looked relieved. He seemed to feel awkward sitting in the kitchen doing nothing. He lumbered into the living room to watch TV while I worked. We were both more comfortable that way. I made a salad while the steaks cooked and set the table. I called him in when dinner was ready, and he sniffed appreciatively as he walked into the room. Smells good, Belle. Thanks. We ate in silence for a few minutes. It wasn't uncomfortable. Neither of us was bothered by the quiet. In some ways, we were well suited for living together. So, how did you like school? Have you made any friends? He asked as he was taking seconds. Well, I have a few classes with a girl named Jessica. I sit with her friends at lunch. And there's this boy, Mike, who's very friendly. Everybody seems pretty nice, with one outstanding exception. That must be Mike Newton. Nice kid. Nice family. His dad owns a sporting goods store down just outside of town. He makes a good living off all of the backpackers who come through here. Do you know the Cullen family? I asked hesitantly. Dr. Cullen's family? Sure. Dr. Cullen's a great man. The kids are a little different. They don't seem to fit in very well at school. Charlie surprised me by looking angry. People in this town, he muttered. Dr. Cullen is a brilliant surgeon who could probably work in any hospital in the world, making 10 times the salary he gets here. He continued, getting louder. We're lucky to have him. Lucky that his wife wanted to live in a small town. He's an asset to the community, and all of those kids are well behaved and polite. I had my doubts when they first moved in with all those adopted teenagers. I thought we might have some problems with them, but they're all very mature. I haven't had one speck of trouble from any of them. That's more than I can say for the children of some folks who lived in this town for generations, and they stick together the way a family should, camping trips every other weekend. Just because they're newcomers, people have to talk. It was the longest speech I'd ever heard Charlie make. He must feel strongly about whatever people were saying. I backpedaled. They seemed nice enough to me. I just noticed they kept to themselves. They're all attractive, I added, trying to be more complimentary. You should see the doctor, Charlie said, laughing. It's a good thing he's happily married. A lot of the nurses at the hospital have a hard time concentrating on their work with him around. We lapsed back into silence as we finished eating. He cleared the table while I started on the dishes. He went back to the TV, and after I finished washing the dishes by hand, no dishwasher, I went upstairs unwillingly to work on my math homework. I could feel a tradition in the making. That night it was finally quiet. I fell asleep quickly, exhausted. The rest of the week was uneventful. I got used to the routine of my classes. By Friday, I was able to recognize, if not name, almost all of the students at school. In gym, the kids on my team learned not to pass me the ball and to step quickly in front of me if the other team tried to take advantage of my weakness. I happily stayed out of their way. Edward Cullen didn't come back to school. Every day I watched anxiously until the rest of the Cullens entered the cafeteria without him. Then I could relax and join in the lunchtime conversation. Mostly it centered around a trip to the La Push Ocean Park in 2 weeks that Mike was putting together. I was invited, and I had agreed to go, more out of politeness than desire. Beaches should be hot and dry. By Friday, I was perfectly comfortable entering my biology class, no longer worried that Eric would no longer be there. For all I knew, he had dropped out of school. I tried not to think about him, but I couldn't totally suppress the worry that I was responsible for his continued absence, ridiculous as it seemed. When the bell finally rang, Edward rushed as swiftly and as gracefully out of the room as he had last. My first weekend in Forks passed without incidents. Charlie, unused to spending time in an unusually empty house, worked most of the weekend. I cleaned the house, got ahead of my homework, and wrote my mom more bogusly cheerful emails. I did drive to the library Saturday, but it was so poorly stocked that I didn't bother to get a card. I would have to make a date to visit Olympia or Seattle soon and find a good bookstore. I wonder idly what kind of guy's mileage your truck got and shuddered at the thought. The rain stayed soft over the weekend, quiet, so I was able to sleep well. People greeted me in the parking lot Monday morning. I didn't know all their names, but I waved back and smiled at everyone. It was colder this morning, but happily not raining. In English, Mike took his accustomed seat by my side. We had a pop quiz on Wuthering Heights. It was straightforward, very easy. All in all, I was feeling a lot more comfortable than I thought I'd feel by this point. More comfortable than I'd ever expected to feel here. When we walked out of class, the air was full of swirling bits of white. I could hear people shouting excitedly to each other. The wind bit at my cheeks, my nose. "Wow," Mike said, "it's snowing." I looked at little cotton fluffs that were building up along the sidewalk and swirling erratically past my face. Ew! Snow. There went my good day. He looked surprised. "Don't you like snow?" "No. That means it's too cold for it to rain, obviously. Besides, I thought it was supposed to come down in flakes, each one unique and all that. These just look like the ends of Q-tips." "Haven't you ever seen snow fall before?" he asked incredulously. "Sure I have." I paused. "On TV." Mike laughed, and then a big squishy ball of dripping snow smacked into the back of his head. We both turned to see where it came from. I had my suspicions about Eric, who was walking away, his back toward us in the wrong direction for his next class. Mike apparently had the same notion. He bent over and began scraping a pile together of the white mush. "I'll see you at lunch, okay?" I kept walking as I spoke. Once people start throwing wet stuff, I go inside.